You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Completed our 1 minute dance-a-thon.
And I punched myself in the jaw.
Yeah, we're not good dancers.
It's fine.
Even to pretend. Good evening, Edward, and welcome everybody to Experience. See what I'm doing there? A pun. The awesomeness that is Minute to Skim It. I'll give you guys a little fun fact. When we first started Minute to Skim It, the entire rules of it were we're only allowed to skim the book for like 1 minute. And then we gave a fast fire review in which they were accurate based on what we could read for 1 minute.
Yeah.
And then we got a following that I read into that they really would like to have an actual review. So that's what we did. Yes, it is Houston, Texas, Mark, and welcome back. Hey, all right, there are a lot of really good books that came out today. I'm going to pre-apologize to you guys. Because of reasons, we're just going to blame San Diego Comic-Con. I put in our order for our DC books late. I missed FOC mark off, so that means I do not have the DC stuff to review for you guys today. I apologize. Blame it on Super Fun Conventions. But you guys did get all kinds of exclusives, so you forgive me. Thanks.
But there's a lot of good stuff that came out this week regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so this is Liam.
Hello.
Liam and I do real serious reading of these books. We spend from what is our time, 3:30 until right before now, trying to read through these books. And we are real fans of comic books. So we're not like lay people reading books and making fun of them. It's not like what grandma said or when your mom plays a video game and you record her doing it.
Like, what does this mean?
I've got 30 years in the industry and way more than that in reading comic books. And you're newer?
Newish. I didn't start reading until about 2 years ago, but I've been part of like the comic movie industry since I was like knee height. So I've been involved with comics, just not reading them. I always lived about an hour to 2 hours from my closest comic shop, and even then,
That's really far.
Oh yeah, living in the middle of nowhere does not help that.
Okay, so you can get new hopeful reviews from Liam, and old grizzled lady reviews from me, I guess.
We're both very honest with our reviews.
Yeah, we are. Although I'm a very positive person, so I like a lot of things. Is they're playing the Harley Quinn, or are you Harley Quinning up?
I am not.
No.
No, it's just a coincidence.
Liam likes him. Not, but I can see the coloration and what you're wearing. Yeah, I can see. All right. So I'm sure all of you guys have gotten real hype about 8 Billion Genies and have hunted down the books. And if you haven't, good news today. They have second and third printings of, I think, 1, 2, and 3 dropping at your LCS. So you can get in because they announced that it was in development, which means they're probably going to make this movie. And it makes me really think if next, maybe they might be hitting into like curse wordsville. Because I would love it if they would make that. Although I almost feel like they have to make that. And I don't know. They'd have to animate it because I don't even know how they would do that as a real thing. All right. So in 8 Billion Genies, all you need to know, issue 1, there are 8 billion people on the planet. There was a birth that occurred that was meant to like signal like a giant event. And then everyone on the planet got their own personal genie and one wish. One wish. And the genies are not mindless, mean things. They actually seem to be very kind and kind of take your wish with like the hopefulness of your intention of the wish.
Yes.
And that becomes even more clear in this one, honestly. about how kind of more altruistic they are. Unlike the historical Jinn figure, which
where they just
evil.
twist whatever you're saying.
Yeah, whatever you would say, they're going to be like, you're going to make, if you don't let it to the letter, you're going to get it all messed up. Hi, everybody from Kenneth Bird. Hello. So what's happened so far is in the first issue, there's going to be a little bit of spoilers now, so you can go la, 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 la. I'm not going to spoil Genies 4, but I'm going to probably spoil up to where we are now. So when all those genies showed up, obviously there were people that made really horrible wishes. Yeah. Like, I want to be a volcano, or I wish I was the most rich person on the planet. Well, if you have a whole bunch of people that wish to be the richest person on the planet, and everything human, then money doesn't mean anything anymore because everyone's got money. Yeah. But there is this ragtag group of people that we're following in the main story, which just happened to be at this bar. Yeah. And the bar owner or bartender, their wish that they made was that nothing outside of the bar could affect things that happened inside the bar. So basically, they were safe from anything that happened outside, which was the most brilliant.
That is smart. Though.
Because people wish to be like Godzillas and superheroes and supervillains, all kinds of things, right? So the outside world has been dwindling in numbers of genies as the genies have their wishes be used up and they disappear. Or people were killed by, I wish that my evil stepbrother was dead, those kinds of things. So you got now 1 billion people on the planet, a little more than 1 billion, and half that many genies in the beginning of this book. There's a lot of things that happen that are kind of like eye-opening, but I do want to say, be real watchful in the stuff that's happening in the background. There's a whole bunch of like superhero fights and all kinds of those kinds of things. Be watchful, because in the background of at least one of these pages, there is a character that you'll recognize from maybe one of their other books, and you'll be very happy about it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I love when publishers do that. That's like my favorite thing.
We love you, Brown.
It's amazing.
Everyone from Virginia, Kenneth Bird says, hey.
Well.
All right, what do we do, Liam?
Well, we both read Predator.
On the books today.
So we both read Predator, and I have a thing with Predator. I love it so much. And it was really cool. And it also gave like the timeline of events on the first page of the movies and not the comics, as someone who has not read the Predator comics. And I loved that. Which means I was going canon with the movies and not the comics, which I appreciate. What'd you think of it?
Okay, so I love it. So this is very specifically, so not told in a linear fashion. Yeah. It's jumping back and forth between the main characters, like when they were younger. Yeah. And their parents looked to be part of some kind of maybe scientific group, or maybe ones that were going to planets to maybe just like do some getting it ready for colonization. I don't know. It doesn't really say.
What my theory was with that is because in the 2010 Predator, the Predators movie, there's a ship that's crash landed that Lawrence Fishburne is just hiding out in the forest. I'm pretty sure that the ship that he's staying in is part of the colonization group.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was thinking, because it looked very similar to what's in the movie.
Now I'm going to have to go back and watch the movies. Really good.
Yes.
So it really is kind of, you get to see what happened in her past in relationship to
everything.
One of the Predators.
Yeah.
And what she's trying to do now.
Yeah.
So it's really great. Great imagery. Not just like overwhelming amount of Predator image stuff. Mostly about the human drama in this one.
And really, all you need to know is just the movie lore. You don't need to know like the comics, which is fantastic, which is lovely. I appreciate that, because now I'm not lost on background media that I have not had a chance to read at all. And it came out when I could barely read. I was just now learning how to read.
Old women reviews.
I feel bad whenever I mention that, but it's true. The Dark Horse series came out when I was a kid, and I didn't know that existed until like last year. So yeah, what's next for you?
And just another thing to point out: if you're a collector of art, like you like art things, and you love the Predator as a character, Marvel has been putting out for the last 2 weeks at least Predator variants of all the other titles that there are out there. So,
and there are some that are still coming out this week, and from what it sounds like, there's still going to be more coming out throughout Marvel within the next month or two.
Yep.
So it's going to be pretty consistent, and they've been really cool covers.
Absolutely. All right. This is the one I was surprised that Liam didn't also choose. But so what happens is Liam gets to choose all of his books, and he disappears back in here to read.
Yeah.
And then I come later on, and usually we're not picking them from the same room. So I pick them and I take off and I go and have some food because my next meal is really late tonight. So we often pick the same books.
Yeah.
That's how we know which ones we like. And I was super surprised that
that was on my list, but then I was like, I'm not in the mood for a romance story this week. That ain't in my...
You might change your mind.
Yeah.
All right. So Love Everlasting, Heads Up, is a Tom King written book. You're not used to seeing Tom King stuff coming out from Image. You're used to seeing him writing awesome stuff with Marvel and DC. But here you go. This is not something like you've probably read before. Take the writing style and feeling of like old school romance comic books. There were a bunch of them that came out. If you go and search them out, most of them are from Marvel.
Yeah.
They were adorable. And take a kind of a what is reality twist to it. So this is like a series of stories that happen back to back in different genre. There is a through line, which is the main heroine or character that is the romance lead. And it's super trippy.
Oh, wow.
So it feels very nostalgic in its style. It's like one step away from like, I don't know if you guys remember, I forgot the dude's name. He did all of his art in like dots.
Oh,
very comic style.
It's not. Oh, I know who you're talking about. And it's not Jackson Pollock. That is not correct.
Lichtenstein?
I think so. I don't know.
Please don't get mad at me, art people. But you guys know what I'm talking about if you were thinking about traditional old school, big line, small dot art style. But that's the way it's like the art style isn't done that way, but it feels like it's trying to aim for that era in feeling. But it's Tom King doing the very best Tom King ever Tom King.
Are we talking about pointillism with the individual dots?
Just like it looks like if you zoomed in super close to something that was done with dots.
I have no idea what that's called, but I do love that art though.
All right, you do the next review and I'm gonna find it.
Okay.
The image of it.
I'm gonna do something that we both didn't read. Space Lady. I have this doesn't really have a linear storyline from what it seems like. So this is issue 2. And they're pretty controlled like within their own universe. Jen found it.
Nope, I'm talking about Lichtenstein.
Oh, okay. But
this is Lichtenstein. I'm just going to show you guys. So it's all.
Oh, it's like pop art.
Super cool pop art, but it's all
okay.
like there's tiny dots in the face.
Love,
you can see a lot.
I always forget there's dots in those. I don't know why. I want to do one of those so badly.
Lichtenstein.
But so main character, she doesn't have a name. At least that's established, and she makes a joke at that. She's a space cop. She literally says that, and I'm glad that she finally confirmed it. The first issue, she was too hungover to do anything, so she sent out these robots that she made to go do her bidding for her, and then they developed sentience. Very strange. It was like the last 3 pages. She was confused. I was confused. Everybody was confused. In this issue, she's on a mission on another planet because apparently she works on a space station. this whole thing is a chaotic, the whole mess, and it's very self-aware and very aware of the fact that it's a comic and this is a ridiculous storyline. And it is beautiful. The art in it is the same as the cover, and it's just very funny. If you have ever like given just a little bit of care towards your just daily as a 20-something as I have, you will love it so much. It is, I've been pushing this hard in the store, and I sold an issue yesterday just from the basis of how I explained it, and she loved it. And I sold her a bunch of other stuff in the same realm as this. She loved them all. So
this is why you have people that read the comics they're selling, so we can actually, get an idea of what you like.
Yeah.
Put a bunch of stuff in your hand that you will like.
Oh yeah.
So I love Surratt. I was in Chicago for a couple of years. Well, my husband went to business school, and they have that giant piece. If you've never been to the Chicago Art Institute and stood in front of Le Grand Jatte, which is bigger than you could possibly imagine. It's at least as big as these 3 windows.
Oh, I want to go.
It takes up a whole wall, and you can stand fairly close to it without them getting real nervous. Awesome.
I love that. I love that so much. Okay, what's next for you?
Okay, well, I did these 2, so I can move these out of the way. I'm going to do Mindset by my friend Zach Kaplan.
That is something I've been wanting to start because I've heard very good things about it.
Real quick, Miss Jen, I have to tell you a story.
Story time.
One of the pieces I have to be hung here in the office is a parody of Surratt's Sunday Afternoon on the Island of Le Grand Jatte with the Avengers.
I love that.
Oh, nice.
I love that so much.
That's so awesome.
DC Marvel character?
Mark, I promise to answer your questions after we do a review. I'm really worried because we have so many today that we'll run out of time, and then we can get to like fun questions.
Yeah.
Mindset number 2 is okay. So Zach Kaplan's got 4 awesome series that are all out here at the exact same time, and I can guarantee you that all of them are going to be picked up for development because he lives in LA and he is writing comic books in his brain that he can visualize as being made into shows and movies. He's not doing it on purpose, I'm certain.
Yeah.
But he just writes that way. His first 4 books that he released 2 or 3 years ago all got picked up and are all in development. That's the way his stuff works. So in this book specifically, it is about a group of very smart graduate students, I'm guessing. I don't think they can possibly be in undergraduate school and be this smart. But they've found themselves together and kind of researching what they can do with cellular technology or cell phone technology. I don't know if it's cell anymore. It's just digital stuff. And in the last issue, they figured out they can manipulate that and create kind of a field around your phone.
Oh.
And it makes you very susceptible. And I don't know if it's something that they can control or if you're around it and someone says something to be susceptible. I'm assuming they're going to figure out at some point that anyone can have control. And even though they, in this issue, make a cool list of rules for themselves about what you would and would not do if you had this kind of power. For example, they show up at a party that they were not invited to at like the 1%ers house and just walk up to the front door and say, they have their technology running. And they said, well, we belong here. We should come in. Yeah. And of course they are let in.
Yeah.
So this is, I really think, going to be a big ethics course on how much they intend this for good and how much is going to be used for evil. It only takes one of this group of, I think it's 4 kids, to decide they want to use it for something else.
Feels like a Black Mirror episode. I love that though. Like, I've been loving that kind of stuff coming out lately of just like, how could technology affect us in the long term if this was possible? But I can't watch too much Black Mirror and read too much of this because it'll start making me go down a conspiracy theory rabbit hole really hard.
Or put your phone down and felt real jonesy about needing to pick it back up again. You might be addicted already. Yeah. Ed Weird says, remember his Detroit Institute of Arts used to do commercials One of them was Surratt knew a lot about dots. You'll never forget that. See, they did a good thing. Art school at DIA professors quoted those spots all time. Yeah. What's next?
So Astronaut Down.
That one.
So I have been so the last issue that came out, I was very confused and it was very like out there, and it makes more sense now. So essentially in a universe, which a lot of parallel universes get explained in this. It's so strange, but in a great way. Because it's teased out in the last issue. So there is a group of astronauts that are being experimented on, essentially, and seeing if they can go outside of these biodomes and see if they can survive whatever cancerous, like, biological entity that exists on Earth now, and see if they can survive. This is the guy the only guy who has survived is the guy on the cover. And nobody knows why he's still alive, and he doesn't know why he's still alive. It's very confusingly explained in the last issue, but apparently he's jumping consciousnesses. I don't know, but I love that. And it's a little bit of parallel universes in this section of the storyline. So the last issue was very out there, but it makes more sense now, especially with all the exposition that was put in that last issue. But this is amazing so far. Like, I haven't seen that yet, but essentially, from what I've heard, the general premise, yeah. But it's more so like astral plane jumping, essentially. Like just jumping between each person. I don't know, but apparently the version of this dude is dead. And it's explained like the very first page. It's not even a spoiler. Just like, so how are you here? And it's great. Like the end is very just, I want more of this, please. It's fantastic. If your LCS has this, grab it, because I'm very interested to see where it's going to go for the rest of the series.
So fans, if you like this, then you'll like Bolero, which is an image book. And if you like Bolero, you will like this book.
Yes, I've been needing to start Bolero, and very much for the same reason.
I just like the name of it because it's just, I don't know that it ever really says why that's its name.
Yeah.
Actually, I've decided I'm going to start a new company just for myself. I'm the only employee, in which the entire purpose of my company is to help people writing books, movies, comic books, whatever, making company names, whatever, pick a good name that makes sense. Because I cannot tell you how many Hollywood movie trailers I've sat through and I was like, man, this looks like a great movie. This is going to be an epic movie. And then the title comes up and I'm like, I don't think I'll watch it.
Like, this is kind of dumb.
That sounds like, I don't know, like The Astronaut's Wife. Oh, when that was the title, the whole trailer, I was like, oh, yeah. I never watched that movie because it was such a dumb
title. It's the same thing with Interstellar. I was very confused why it was called that.
That one was a good title.
Oh, yeah.
That one was a great one.
It's a great movie.
So good. All right. Prodigy. This is the second series of Prodigy out of Mark Millar's brain of awesomeness. It's called the Icarus Society. So this is number 2. It's all about this fellow. This is Edison Crane. And this new kind of like, think of him like James Bond mixed with that dude from Mission Impossible, plus Jason Bourne, plus Einstein. I don't know, all the great things you could possibly imagine. Just put it all together in this one guy named Edison Crane. And yeah, Ethan Hunt, thank you. So he, in the last series, mostly just kind of like was proving himself as being like this ultra intelligent, and maybe also the Robert Downey Jr. version of Sherlock Holmes.
Oh yeah.
So,
I love him.
So he like kind of came out strong in his first series as being like really able to handle anything thrown at him. He's a one-man, super smart army.
Yeah.
In this one, issue number 1, there's a new bad guy who shows up who, I know it's going to sound weird, but he has replaced his hands with gorilla hands.
What?
He's got reasons. Read it to find out.
Okay.
And it doesn't look ridiculous. It's kind of like one of those things like, why? Why would you just makes all the sense in the book.
Okay.
And he's basically doing the whole cool Blomfeld thing where he's kind of forcing Edison into doing things that will work out for this bad guy. So he's got an agenda he's working through a big agenda that he's kind of forcing Edison's hand. But just knowing him, I think that he's already like 10 steps ahead of him. And he's just going along with it to figure out what the end game is before he does something about it. It is better than crab claws. Not helpful.
Super
or
duper.
tiny T-Rex arms. Yeah.
My head is, what is it? I can't remember what the quote is. I have small arms and a big head. I don't think you thought this through from Meet the Robinsons.
Yeah.
I don't know why that immediately popped in my head. Okay. We read a lot of doubles this week, so I'm just gonna knock out Dark Beach because I don't think I'm gonna keep reading it. Unfortunately, I was really excited for like this whole series, and
That's sci-fi, right?
Yeah, it's post or like in the future. So it's on issue 5, which is why I'm like he gotten this far. So essentially, Earth has gotten it's now out of the sun's orbit from what I can remember. And so there's these domes that are for habitation. And these people live in these domes, and there are certain clubs that give artificial UV. And these like group of people are called sun freaks if they hang out there all the time. And the very first issue, you find this girl dead on the floor with what looks like a VR headset, which essentially is what it is. And this dude, Gordo, is trying to figure out who killed her. And in the issue before last, the killer finds him and is like, why are you looking for me? And Gordo tells him why. Out of fear of dying from this hired killer.
Zuckerberg strikes again.
Oh my gosh. Is that
type his name, you'll like summon him.
Is that a lizard person joke? Anyways, so last issue, the art style was very like, it was jarring. Like I didn't like the art in it, and I think they fixed that because the art isn't the same as the last issue, but it's still super confusing because it was implied that the girl who died was a lover and not a sister, and then I guess that got changed in this issue. I'm just very confused, and the main basis of the whole storyline is everywhere besides the main storyline. Like there's all kinds of subplots happening all at once and disregarding the main plot, and I am just, it's 5 issues in. If you want to keep reading it, go ahead. I'm personally going to stop reading it. I'm just very confused by the storyline right now because they've been building up to like, who's this actual killer? Why was he hired in the first place? And like 3 issues later, there's still no explanation of why she was killed. The hired killer was even acknowledged in one of the issues, and it still has not been explained why he was hired. That was 2 issues ago. I kind of want the exposition to stop and just give me plot, but I'm not getting any plot anymore.
So here's fair warning for you guys out there that are writing. It is super awesome if you know where a storyline's going, but if you don't give your readership enough to make them care, then you lose them.
Yeah, like I was excited for the series. Like I binged like the first 2 issues before issue 3 came out because I wanted to read it and I wanted to understand, and now I'm here and I'm confused, and I love the art in it, but I can't anymore. I can't keep reading it because I need plot. I need there to be continual plot, not just like this exists and this character exists, now exposition and this character exists, but who's killing all these people and why? It's 5 issues in. I want to know why already.
Give us a hint.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna give my first review of a Scout or Scout adjacent book in all of my life. Feel real icky about it. This is Behemoth, a Black Caravan book. And it is about this young lady in the middle who appears to have some kind of mutation that's happening to her that's slowly turning her into some kind of creature, hence the name Behemoth. And the whole series basically starts with her. It looks like in a domestic situation that she has hurt her mother, and the police have been called, but the people that show up are not the police. They say they're not the police, so I don't know why immediately mom doesn't kick them out. But the storyline doesn't have a lot of meat on it. It's a pretty straightforward girl has powers or abilities that an agency wants and takes them into their facility where they expose them to a team of other like powered or whatever mutated individuals with the purpose of creating a group that's going to do something at some point. And for me, it didn't have anything new added to it that made me separate it from any one of those other series that has ever happened. Because there's like a million vampire books, there's a million werewolf books, there's all of these things that have been tropes forever and ever. But people that go back into them, like the romance thing that Tom King wrote, millions of those. But
you have to set yourself apart.
Give it something, a juice for your audience. You got to give it juice. And if there was juice in this, I missed it because I was having to read it more quickly for a review, or it's not there. So maybe you guys can find the juice in this. I missed the juice.
I feel like that's been happening a lot with a lot of sci-fi plot, like that they're reusing things that we've seen millions of times in movies, TV, comics, books in general. And it's been reused. Like, we got to get something new to set apart from everything else. And that's hard when everything's been used. But obviously, you can set it apart. Most of what I read this week was sci-fi. I think the only thing that wasn't sci-fi was this. And that was it. And Samurai Doggy. But you got to set yourself apart, or you're going to fall into the same rut as everybody else is writing. And it's... I don't know. It's just, I haven't seen that a lot lately.
Yeah, like I said, it breaks my heart. There are a million pieces to ever give a book a review.
Yeah.
But I gotta be real with you guys.
Yeah. Well, then, I guess I'm just gonna do There's Something Wrong with Patrick Todd. I read the first issue of this on Minute To Skim It. And that's how I found out about it, actually.
But you bet.
Batman. I love that, though. So his dad's on the cover. That's who it is. He's like speckled through the backgrounds of the comic throughout this like series. It's only on issue 2, but granted. So the very first like section that made me actually kind of chuckle was so Patrick just got robbed. So the last issue, to give a minute of explanation. So this kid has not telekinesis, telepathy, and he can control people, and so he makes people rob banks. And it's the best way to use it. And his dad's out of the picture in the first issue, and isn't really explained where he is. And his mom's in a psych hospital for what I'm assuming still is dementia caused by him from using telepathy too much. Because it's explained a little bit more in this issue that a lot of his victims are experiencing permanent memory loss or have permanent dementia where there's no history of dementia in their family at all, or no causes to it. And so what I'm gathering is that Patrick Todd's abilities are genetic from his dad, who has the same powers, and I'm pretty sure his dad was just in jail for murder. So
Dun, dun, dun.
yeah, it's a really good series so far. I'm excited to see where it's gonna go because it keeps leaving on cliffhangers, but in the best kind of ways.
And Booth's like that.
Oh yeah, it's great. I'm living for it so far. Pick it up if you love like malicious telepathy. There is a section in it that he says go F yourself to a security guard while using his powers, and apparently off screen the security guard starts doing such acts. It is off screen, but it's implied from like the audio cue or like the like
It's a win-win
verbal
situation
cues.
there.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, just like
Yeah.
Preacher, except for the instructions that happened in Preacher were, wasn't it like count all the sand on the beach? Yeah, that was cruel.
Yeah.
Super cruel.
It's not that cruel. He's just
You
trying to
don't
help
get
his
it?
mom.
The guard is doing what? So, yes, Edward, that's true. When someone does something really new and original, it does take off because people notice. They're like, wait,
Yeah.
someone has a new idea?
What? Somebody has something that's interesting?
It's a miracle.
It's nuts.
Okay, so Mullet Cop. Mullet Cop has had an issue number 1, and then they announced that Mullet Cop was in development. I can't remember which company picked it up. And then recently they re-released the issue number 1. It wasn't a new print. I think they just happened to find a secret stash of first prints and made them available only to retailers through their wholesale website. So you might be able to find some of them in the wild at your LCS if they order those. And then along with that, they did a completely new original book called The Flavor of Danger, which is its own standalone story in the Mullet Cop universe.
I love that.
In which, so the Mullet Cop universe, I'll explain to you. Imagine if everything became super futuristic and there were mega malls, but that the mega malls were stuck permanently in the 80s. So the coloration of the mall is 80s. The stores are very 80s related. That's right. So in the first Mullet Cop book, you meet the main character, who is the sweet dude with the awesome mullet, who deals with on the daily the fact that the mall is so large, it's more like a city. And there are gangs that kind of like rule mafia style different sections of the mall. And so he gets critically injured, kind of like RoboCop style, and gets taken into this super secret society where he gets conscripted to be a spy in the mall. And they give him his post that he has to man is he has a restaurant in the mall. That's I don't know why because he was a mall cop before. Now he runs a restaurant that has a giant buffet in it. And they give him a supercomputer that looks just like a microwave. It's called the Mall Industries 2000 or MIT.
Oh, that explains a lot.
The Mafia. Yes. You guys are on top of it right now. JD's got all the puns.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so in this one, that's the setup. So you know what the mall cop character is like. In this one, the whole entire story is about this giant corporation who wants to put out this new, I think it's like soda super energy drink flavor, which also controls people. So it is about one of the board members kind of being like, I don't like that. And them kind of setting out to put a hit on her. And then the mullet cop gets involved in the situation. So it's awesome and full of ridiculous imagery. And I mean, it is so original. So original. I hope they make this into an animated something, because it already just feels like it has to be animated. I feel like
this would go really well on probably Adult Swim. Either Adult Swim or Hulu. I feel like one of those two platforms would absolutely pick it up. Knowing what Adult Swim has been picking up lately, I would not be surprised if it's in behind the scenes development. If it is, especially with Adult Swim.
The mullet is the least ridiculous thing in the book. No doubt.
And
That is 100% true.
CBSN got their own exclusive cover a few months ago.
Yeah. And it's completely sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't even have a copy.
Yeah, I think I sold the last issue that we had of it. Because I was like, this is a cool cover that is only exclusive to really us.
Yeah. It does look a little bit like Beavis and Butthead, where the line art is really thin. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a cross between that and what am I thinking of? It'll come to me when you talk. Go ahead and do your thing.
Well, I only have one more book left. If
You only have one more. I gotta.
Yeah,
I
you
gotta
read
go.
like double what I read this week.
Sorry.
Because the only one left that we both haven't read was no, we both read Samurai Donkey and Starhenge. So
It's true.
Yeah.
All right. Third Wave 99 is at issue number 4. This one's written by James Hake, which I get to do an do a show with tomorrow. Hopefully, he's been traveling, making deals in Hollywood, and general busy, so he hasn't been able to make the show for a while. But I want to know the things, and I usually get it out of him during the show. It's pretty easy to get to grift information out of him. But so Third Wave 99 is this cool kind of feels a little bit like Point Break, but the book, as you read it, you're going to be kind of like fooled that it's just really about this guy who owns this surf shop called Third Wave 99, and that has started this program for at-risk, young people that he just brings them. He like, come be part of our group. We'll keep you out of trouble and teach you how to surf. But what's become very clear about the main guy that owns the surf shop, is that he is supposed to be laying low. Like there's something that's happened in the past. I don't know if he's a government agent or if he's a witness for the prosecution. I don't know. He's supposed to be chilling out and staying out of sight. But he decided to open up a surf shop and, be with kids. So the story is a little bit the story about this one young man who he's trying to help, that's a very cool, wholesome part of the story. There's nothing weird going on with that relationship. And this other, we know as the readers, but no one that's part of the surf program knows anything about. So the cover kind of lets you know that things are getting kind of scary. Yep. Will Beavis and Butthead hold up? I don't know. I think it will be awesome and hilarious for one season, and then we'll be like, yeah, there's a reason why that ended, 'cause it gets old.
I think the only people, I don't really know anybody who's younger than me that knows even what Beavis and Butthead is, which makes me feel super old.
Then it'll do well. I mean, if there's a whole new generation that doesn't know at all what Beavis and Butthead is, then they'll love it.
Yeah, maybe, but I anytime that I show, my stepbrother is, I think he just turned 18 this year, or he's turning 19, I don't know. I stopped keeping up after I left. I tried to show him a clip and he was like, I don't know what this is. And I was like, okay, cool.
I got about 15 minutes, so I'm going to blow through a bunch of books here. Terry Moore's got a new book out called Parker Girls. I know what you're thinking. Why did no one tell me there's not a new Terry Moore book coming out? You better get that on your pull list, because I'm telling you, there were not enough of these ordered. So there are 2 stories kind of going on in this book. One is about a girl that is hanging out at the beach and has a kind of like an interaction with another fellow who's at the same beach resort as she is. Mm-hmm. I can't remember. We'll just say it's the Turk and Caicos resort, because I can't remember where it is. But so they have a chance encounter, and there's some flirting that happens and plans are made. But the other parallel story that's being told is about these 2 blondes that are very right up front talked about in terms of them being the Parker Girls. And I'll let you figure out what that means. But they look to be either known or unknown government agency folks doing whatever they're doing. And I'm sure these 2 stories are going to intertwine. It's told really well in the same Terry Moore style that you're used to, which is all relational, and you're going to care about the characters very much. And the art is all in black and white, just like it has been since the 90s when he started doing this stuff. And you will love it. You will love it. Oh, you thought it was Paper Girls? No.
No.
I think that's going to happen for a lot of people. Yeah, it's Parker Girls. And this is the new 007 book out of Dynamite. Just straight up 007. This feels like it's set in early Bond, like before he's really proven himself and become known, but not like his first foray into doing spy work. It's a great book. It's like I was really excited about getting to read it. My one customer that just like the day things come out for 007 happened to be in today, and I was like, I cannot tell it to you, but I will tell you that it's great. Come and go, maybe we'll not notice. Oh, I hope not.
Mm.
Okay, Blade Runner Black Lotus is about this character here, known as the Black Lotus, new kind of Tyrell Corporation makes. I can't remember what they're called.
I don't remember either. It's been a long time since I've watched Blade Runner.
This is the worst part of anything. For the first time in my life, I can remember the word Blade Runner. For some reason, my brain always has a blockade for the title of that, but I can't. Replicants. So she's a new kind of replicant. That the way this gets introduced, the story, they have like a little synopsis at the very beginning, makes it sound like this character's been around in a different book. But I have not read that book, so I will know that you can totally read this completely without having any of that stuff. There you go. It's supposed to be more true to Ian Fleming's series. Yeah, that's what it felt like to me. So this one is really good. Black Lotus is full of awesome replicants. Sorry I'm going shorter. I just don't want to run out of time to talk about all these other cool things.
Because the last two books we both read,
Mm-hmm.
so
yeah, we're going to talk a lot
about
this. Avengers and Moon Girl is one of two books that are out this week that pair two things together that don't usually go together. One of them is Miss Marvel and Wolverine, which I did not get to finish. But Avengers and Moon Girl makes sense. The reason why they put these two things together. Sometimes when we see the titles of these, I'm like, why? Why would you put those two things together? Why don't you just let Lunella have her own thing? So in this one, the setup is that Lunella...
You good?
Oh my gosh. Lunella, she has lost Devil Dinosaur. No idea where he is. But has become responsible for one of his clones, which is a big purple dinosaur with a tiny head. She's kind of babysitting him, which is kind of crazy. And she reaches the point where she needs help trying to figure out. She wants to go look for Devil Dinosaur, but the responsibilities with this dinosaur are just like overwhelming. And it's not genetically settled yet. Like it's still having mutation problems. So she wants to work on that. So Lunella's super smart. She's way up there with like the Tony Starks in the world. So she ends up reaching out, I think, to Tony, and Tony says, no, I know who's the right person to help you with this. I'll be the first person to say. And he sends for Carol. So Captain Marvel shows up first. There's no other Avengers in this issue. And he definitely messages because they start seeing these like big, like tectonic seismic waves in the moon, and they're trying to figure out what is going on. And it's really cool what it is, so you'll like that. And for folks out there that are like, man, I've never really gotten into Ghost Rider, or I don't know all about all of the different Ghost Riders, and I would like to have an easy way to know more about them in a story that doesn't feel like it's just like, I'm going to tell you about all the different Ghost Riders. This one is Ghost Rider Vengeance Forever, and it does a perfect job of introducing you to a brand new character. It's somebody the tattooist. I can't remember the first part of their name, but one of the Ghost Riders shows up, gets kind of, I don't want to say captured because that doesn't seem fair. He shows up on purpose, but he gets locked into this chair, and this character, whatever the tattooist, who looks boss by the way, he says that he only does tattoos that are already there. He just draws them out. And while he's doing this all over this body. He's tattooing basically the stories of all the different Ghost Riders.
Oh, that's
So, like,
cool.
Ketchum, all of them. You get to see all of their stuff. So it's cool. To what end? I don't know where they're going to take it from there, but it was a very pleasant kind of like walking through, remembering of all of the different Ghost Riders, and
I love
it's really
that thing.
beautiful.
Okay, then I'm just gonna knock out Starhenge.
Go.
Loved it. I love the art in it. It's beautiful all around. And I'm gonna keep reading it. Not because the storyline. I mean, it's not. It's a storyline. It exists. But the art in it is gorgeous. And like really the only part of the story that I've been enjoying is the people on Earth. And I want them to touch on it a bit more. And they have a little like writer's note of just like, this is what I found from Wikipedia, so it has to be 100% true. And I loved it. It was I loved it. So
it is one of those books. I wonder if there is embedded in that book a little bit of that cell phone technology, because I swear to you, both number 1 and number 2, when I was reading them, I loved them so much. I was super into it.
Cute.
And then I did not remember.
There was a random Merlin storyline that just randomly happened with no context whatsoever.
I'm sure it's all going to tie together.
Yeah.
But it has to get there before we lose interest, right? That's the thing. Right now, the art is good enough and the story is good enough to be like, they're going to put it together.
Yeah.
It's all going to match.
But I hope it doesn't take too long, because I'm going to be very disinterested if it takes longer than 4 issues.
It's a storyline.
It's a storyline. It exists.
L-Dog.
L-Dog 2022. That's my quote of the year. Samurai Doggy. We both read it. The art style is definitely aimed at kiddos, but there is blood in it. Mm-hmm. So if you're not okay with blood or violence for your kiddos, don't recommend picking it up for the kiddo. But otherwise, I mean, it was adorable in the worst ways. It literally just jumps you right into the action. I enjoyed it. I'll keep reading it for a minute to skim it, but it's adorable.
Starts straight up.
It's right into it.
It's like the death of someone important to the main character, and just leads straight into
it's like it does not pull any punches. It is like boom boom boom, like this is my vengeance story and this is why I'm here. It was very good.
And I also like that he's like a little companion. That's a robot, like kind of crow.
It's a robot.
Their head is
vulture.
not attached to their body at all.
Yeah.
Was it a vulture?
Yes.
I didn't know.
Because it was trying to eat him.
That's
one
right.
Of the pages. Yeah.
That's right. Hey, Prodigy! He's reminding us, please subscribe to our silly show. Yeah. You know you enjoy it, so subscribe. It helps us out on the other end with algorithms, and it lets other people find us, because it actually pushes us up in the results for things like comic book review shows. This is my kind of favorite comic book. This is a cool book. I know that you're looking at this title and being like, I don't even know what this is about. The cover will give you a hint. I'm pretty sure you can figure out who that is. So this is Berezina. This is the first in 3 books from Ninth Cinebook. And here's the pitch, and you guys are going to want it because I'm going to give you a good pitch. So it's in September 1872, Napoleon and his Grande Armée enter Moscow without facing the slightest resistance. Unsurprising, the city is empty. Where are the people? Where are the food supplies? Next evening, the Chinese quarter is ablaze. The fire soon engulfs the pine houses, but it's impossible to fight. The fire engines have disappeared. It's a trap. Following the battle, the Astoria Prize for the Best Historical Comic Book in 2014, Frédéric Rouchon and Ivan Gill bring a spectacular adaptation of Patrick Rombaugh's A Retreat. So this one gives an unblemished account of Napoleon's appalling Russian campaign, which over 6 months as it lasted, saw more than 350,000 people perish, and proved to the world that Napoleon was not invincible after all. Yeah, this is like pure, like, you can do the studies on war. This is what you have to look at. Because if you can't win by force, you can win by taking away all of the resources. So there you go. All right, everybody, that is all we have. That is Napoleon. The cover.
Yes.
You got it. So I will see you guys next week. I've been Miss Jen.
I've been Liam.
And this has been a Minute to Skim It. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.